We're not censoring anyone, except maybe the people who think they're above the law. That blunt line from Tuesday's Iowa Board of Regents meeting set the tone for a debate that is already lighting up faculty lounges and social media threads across the state. But here's where it gets controversial. The board just rewrote its brand new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion (DEI) policy only weeks after undercover videos appeared to show university employees bragging about how to sidestep a state statute. The scene in Urbandale was tense. 3 separate recordings, each released within the last few weeks, captured staffers at Iowa's public universities apparently coaching one another on how to keep certain DEI practices alive, even after lawmakers tried to rein them in. The clips went viral, parents flooded phone lines, and legislators demanded answers to an emergency rewrite of the policy that had barely cooled from the printer. And this is the part most people miss. The revisions are not just tweaks. They are a philosophical pivot. The board voted 7-1 to strip out every specific example or buzzword from the original text and replace them with a single sweeping mandate. Every controversial topic must be taught with all significant viewpoints represented. Picture a classroom discussion on affirmative action. Instead of a professor framing it as settled doctrine, students would now hear the historical arguments for and against it, told explicitly that the issue remains hotly debated. Regent David Barker, who teaches economics at the University of Iowa, called the new language an improvement because it removes what he labeled loaded terminology and forces faculty to present balanced content. The goal isn't to muzzle anyone, Barker insisted. It's to make sure students know when they're wading into contested waters and give them the intellectual life vests to navigate both shores. But bold claims invite bold pushback. Critics argue that labeling something controversial can itself be a form of soft censorship, placing mainstream science or history on the same rhetorical footing as fringe theories. Is a biology professor now obliged to give equal airtime to creationism when teaching evolution? The policy doesn't say, and that ambiguity is exactly what has faculty unions worried. Other approved changes read like a compliance officer's wish list. A full-scale board audit every 2 years to comb through syllabi, reading lists, and lecture recordings to confirm that coursework meets the balanced perspectives standard. A crystal-clear directive that grades must be based solely on mastery of the material, not on whether a student parrots the instructor's personal viewpoint. In other words, you can disagree with your professor's take on systemic racism and still earn an A if you back your argument with evidence. Moments after the vote, Board President Sherry Bates issued a statement that sounded more like a warning than a press release. "If we catch anyone ignoring these rules, I won't wait for the next meeting," Bates said. "I'll appoint a rapid response task force of regents to investigate, correct, and, if necessary, discipline. Our students deserve an education, not indoctrination." Strong words, and they raise a thorny question. Who decides what counts as balanced? Is it a rotating panel of professors, an outside consultant, or the same politicians who passed the law that triggered this entire showdown? The policy leaves that detail fuzzy, guaranteeing future courtroom drama. So, dear reader, where do you land? Is this a long overdue safeguard against ideological echo chambers, or a slippery slope toward academic micromanagement? Should every viewpoint, no matter how marginal, get classroom time, or are some debates legitimately settled? Drop your take in the comments. The board insists it's listening, and the next revision could hinge on the voices they hear the loudest.